We're gonna press on, and we're gonna have the happiest Christmas since Bing Crosby tap danced with Danny fucking Kaye.
Welcome to this very festive, very merry, very decked of the halls Toronto Beer Podcast. This wonderful holiday season with me, your host Chris Schreier, and back in the co-pilot seat, Goose to my Maverick. I'm out of partnership. Batman to my Robin. I don't know. Mandie Murphy, how you doing?
Hey Chris, I'm pretty good. How are you doing tonight? You sound a little sleepy.
Yep. Feeling it. A lot of mail to deliver, Mandie. A lot of parcels. A lot of people need their mail.
I was wondering this before we jumped on the mics here, wondering who is busier at this time of year, a mail delivery guy like yourself, or someone running a bottle shop in the East End of Toronto.
I am willing to bet that the answer is the bottle shop operator. That, I'm busy, but it's all pretty manageable. And if I don't do it, if I don't get it done, it's not the end of the world. Sometimes the parcel that was supposed to get delivered today, it gets delivered tomorrow. And that's just how we roll.
Yeah, but you run at a time, right? It's if it's not today, it's tomorrow. If it's not tomorrow, it's the next day. But once Friday comes and goes, is there an intense amount of pressure to get that stuff dropped?
Well, if there is, I haven't felt it yet. I mean, there's always intense pressure, but it isn't, not particularly. I think there's a sort of unspoken, sense of come on, seriously, if you left it till Friday to get delivered, what did you expect was going to happen?
Yeah, fair enough.
There is also going to be Saturday delivery though. So
have you been working weekends then?
Negative.
Oh, good.
I am. Yeah, no, that is not on in my books. Weekends are when I hang out with my adorable children and my wonderful wife, and so, yeah, no. But respect to the guys who do it, and respect to their bank account, because I think they're making double time and a half. So it's pretty lucrative delivering the old mail on the weekends.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope. Also, you got to watch out.
Oh, yeah, it's crazy talk. But anyway, so bottle shop busy, you selling a lot of beer?
Christmas is pretty intense for us. It's busy. Most days feel like a holiday long weekend in the summer where the LCBO and beer store are closed, though they are not closed. So it's an adventure. It's fun. We have extended hours this week and some extended and then reduced hours next week. So it's a lot, but it's good. It's great for business.
Yeah, that
and
is great.
It's great to see the people that are the neighbors that may come in once or twice a year. This is when they're making that visit, so it's a good chance to impress them and give them a good experience.
Nice. And what's on the shelves of the bottle shop right now for all of your neighbors' festive needs?
Well, we have a very large variety. The two that I'm most excited about is that we have Prospect, which is a single hop IPA, both Citra and Simcoe, and so for the first time ever we have two versions of Prospect available fresh at the very same time. We've never managed to pull that off before, and the whole idea with Prospect is that it gives you the chance to really get familiar with one single hop. So we use one hop for the purposes of bittering, flavor, and aroma, and we do all the early and late additions as well as the dry hopping with that single hop. And so the beer really shows off the characteristics of that unique hop. And really the best way to drink something like that is side by side with another hop. And you've never really been able to do that before, at least with our beer or our single hop series. So now you can, and it's really a fun experiment. It's really educational as well. So it's cool to have those both in the shop. We have 643, our double IPA, which is just available once a year. We always brew it at Christmas time.
Nice.
Some of the mainstays like Maris and Ephus, Bricks and Mortar, our seasonal coffee porter, and then a few other options as well. So there's a lot of variety this year in the shop, which we learned last year was pretty necessary because we were, by the end of the holidays, I think we were down to Maris and 643 or one or the other, and there really wasn't a lot of offerings for people with varied palates or wishes. So it's good. It's been a good year.
That's awesome. Super cool.
Speaking of beer, what are you drinking tonight, Chris?
well, I had a host of things to choose from, and due to my sleepy state and my just need for simplicity, which isn't a knock on this beer. It's actually, if anything, it's a comfort kind of food style beer. But I opted for a lovely tall boy of Collingwood's Downhill Pale Ale.
Oh, nice.
Which is,
It's a good one.
just super good. Yeah, just a solid American IPA or pale ale. What about yourself?
I love those
Mandie?
folks at Collingwood. It's great beer. It's a go-to for me
they're
too.
So nice. Yeah.
Tonight I am drinking an Amsterdam Farmhouse series, the Bois du Lac Saison.
Oh, so
I've
good,
actually never had this before, and I am very excited about it just 2 sips in. It has a beautiful, beautiful white, like frothy, lasting head on it. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, and the spices off the yeast in that are just crazy
The,
good.
the carbonation is like really, really lovely though. I like it. I wish more beers like this had that level of carbonation.
Yep, it's real good. Was that a pickup from your Tempest Day, No Tempest
Yeah,
shop?
it is. Yeah,
Yep.
it was from the day I got upsold to real hard.
That's awesome. Cool. Well, so as we've already been talking about, and you'd be, living under a rock not to have noticed it, Christmas is coming, and if there's a goose somewhere, it is getting fat. So we were going to talk a little bit about like beer and Christmas, because, well, I obviously think a lot of people probably drink some beer at Christmas time, but like, there's some real room for intentionality around good beer and good Christmas celebrations. But before we actually dive right into that, do you guys have any specific like kind of family tradition things that you guys do Christmas time? You buy each other pajamas and Boxing or Christmas Eve, you open them and wear goofy pajamas and watch a movie or something like that?
Yeah, we do some of that stuff. I know I talked a little bit about some of the traditions last year, so in attempts to not totally
call.
repeat myself.
Probably should have listened to that before I did this one.
If anyone's like listening straight through the episodes, this might get a little repetitive.
Dane,
I like to do a lot of.
We're looking at you.
Hey, Dave.
And his name's Dane, by the way. I called him
Dane.
Dave.
I just said Dave. Hey, Dane. Hi.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Christmas. What do we do? Well, Christmas also happens to be my birthday, so it's
That's
extra
right.
special time of year. Yeah, we typically have like the same sort of family events that we do each year. We see the same groups of people and some of our lovely extended family that you don't get to see throughout the year or very many times over the course of the other seasons. But see them. I do quite a bit of baking. I was a bit bummed out with the big snowstorm on the weekend. I was supposed to have my annual baking weekend with Nana. My grandmother will come and spend the weekend with me. We'll do a bunch of baking. We'll usually work on a knitting or a crochet or a cross-stitch project together. It's basically like a grandma's weekend, and I love it more than anything. But she was snowed in. She lives up in Orangeville. She was snowed in on the weekend, so we had to cancel our weekend together, which makes me a little sad. But
that's unfortunate.
yeah, so that was sad. Also, I've had as an indication of how chaotic this season has been, I've had my tree up for, I want to say 5 weeks, 4 or 5 weeks. We have an artificial tree.
Yeah.
To this day, and what day is it? December 20th? December 20th that we're recording. It still only has just the lights on it. It has not been decorated.
Yeah. That's I can feel that. We decorated our tree because obviously the kids are a good driver for that. And this year actually we got a real tree. This is our new thing now. We had an old sort of artificial that we finally got rid of last year, and so we're new tree or real tree folks now. But we got it decked. But I've been sitting on and. I don't know if it's going to be too late. We'll probably crack a bottle anyway. But I've got all this wine that I made this year that I've been really meaning to get bottled off in time for Christmas, which now, strictly speaking, you really want to give it a week or two in the bottle just to kind of settle down before you drink it, and ideally a lot longer than that. But we're going to bottle it off and maybe makes like 2 bottles worth of mulled wine out of it and not really worry too much about how settled in the bottle it is at that point.
I love mulled wine. You could totally get away with something like that too for the bottle shock. I don't know that would have much of an impact if you're going to put some spices in mull it anyway.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to get oxidized and heated and like I don't think we need to be worried about it. We have, I say a recipe. It's not really a recipe quite, but we learned a technique for making mulled wine from German friends of ours, and I will share it. It has nothing to do with beer, but you take your wine, like 2, 3, 4, however many bottles you're going to make. You pour them in the pot, cut an apple or 2 up, cut up a couple of oranges, chuck them in, some cinnamon sticks, some nutmeg, a bit of allspice, all that's floating around in there. And then you bring it up to temp, right? And you don't need to get it to hit a boil. You just want to get it hot and let it everyone get to know each other. But then the pièce de résistance, and our German friends do this inside. I normally take it outside for fear of burning down the house. But you get, sugar used to come in cones way back in the day, like a century ago. It would be this cone, sort of Christmas tree shaped, maybe 8 or 10 inches high, and you can still get these, especially from German food suppliers. And a good German has a device that actually kind of suspends this above the pot, but I just kind of jury rig up some bits and pieces to hold it in place. And then you saturate that in high proof rum, and then you light that on fire.
What?
Yeah. And then you take the high proof rum and you pour it through the fire, and it breaks down the sugar cone. And so some of the rum is burning off, but a lot of it ends up in the mulled wine, as does a lot of this sugar, a lot of which gets caramelized by the fire. And then once it's all broken down and in the pot, and you've basically mixed half a liter of high proof rum into, say, 2 bottles of wine, and you give it a final kind of mix around, and then you drink that, and you have yourself a very, very Merry Christmas.
That sounds pretty tasty and also really fun whenever you get to include fire as part of drink making. It's always a good time.
I think more drinks should involve fire.
I agree. It just really enhances the experience all around. Visually, from an aromatic perspective, temperature, from a sensory perspective. It's awesome. I love it.
Yeah. Makes you worried that you're going to lose your eyebrows.
Makes it more dangerous, more daring. I love it. It's more fun. Yeah. We have a fiery beer coming out soon, too.
Can you say more? Oh, is it a repeat of the s'more one?
You bet.
Nice. Yeah, see, exactly. Set things on fire in a safe way really ups the ante, I think.
Yeah, when there's texture and temperature and serving rituals, and it really enhances added aromatics and visuals. It enhances the drinking experience. So.
Yeah, and it's like table service. Have you ever had a baked Alaska?
I have not. No.
I remember we used to go on cruises when I was quite a bit younger. My parents, that was their sort of preferred hot location holiday, was to go on a Caribbean cruise. And invariably, one night of every cruise, the dessert would be baked Alaska, and the service staff would all kind of go off to the kitchen, and the lights would drop, and they'd all come out with music and carrying these baked Alaskas that had a fire burning in the middle of them. And then there would be this elaborate tableside dousing of the fire and cutting of the baked Alaska in service. And it's like tableside service. It's great when you go into the bottle room, tap room at your place, and somebody hand torches you a little marshmallow on a stick and puts it on the top of the pint. That's a beautiful little flourish,
And it's just really fun to get to light stuff on fire all day.
Also true. Now, do you ever do Christmas pudding and light that on fire?
I don't know. Do you? You do?
Yeah. See, the whole day really at Christmas, you can
lighting stuff on fire. That's fun.
Yeah, absolutely. We actually didn't make pudding this year because it's just going to be the 4 of us Christmas Day, and so it's going to be pretty chill. But normally I would make up the pudding and then douse that in brandy and then light that on fire. Because, by the way, really, when you're lighting stuff on fire on Christmas, it needs to be alcohol. That's the real secret to success. Is light a lot of alcohol on fire.
It's nice to have a nice little fire roaring too in the fireplace if you have that.
Yes.
It doesn't need to be alcohol.
That. Yeah, that's true. Do you have a fireplace?
I do, yeah. It's pretty tiny. It's pretty miniature. You can only have one small log in at a time, but it's nice to have it on.
We have a fireplace, but it doesn't have a liner in the chimney now. And so it's not safe for use. So instead of lighting stuff on fire in a fun way, we would have a chimney fire, and that's no fun on Christmas Day. So that would
not
be
the
good.
kind of fire you would like to have on Christmas Day.
No, light brandy on fire. Don't light the chimney on fire. That's somebody should put that on a T-shirt.
All right, so back to tradition, Chris. What do you have planned this year that's beer related and is part of your Christmas tradition?
Well, one of the things that I do like to do is, you always have some big bottles kind of set aside in the fridge or in the cellar or whatever. And I like to make a little bit of a lineup of those that are going to get knocked off through the day. And so it's like a little pre-planning of like, okay, so what bottle, like what's the order going to be? When am I thinking about opening these? And again, it's just the four of us. And so obviously Ben and Grace don't really drink beer. And Erica is not a huge beer drinker. So it's really just on me now, but that's kind of nice in a way because it's like, okay, I get to make some decisions. So I've got like, I know I've got a Saint Ambroise Russian Imperial Stout that's I think 4 or 5 years old now. So that one might be a mid-afternoon kind of little tipple. And it might be time. I've got a big bottle of Unibrew 17 that's now 5 or 6 years old. That one could go down. Yeah, so just, these beers are made to be drank. So kind of just selecting a little lineup of beers and knocking them down through the day with the mulled wine, of course, and possibly some eggnog with rum.
If you get the chance on this mulled wine thing, just back to it for a second. I've heard that mulled wine with, if you take the warm mulled wine and have fresh, like really effervescent ginger beer on hand, I've heard that those make a killer cocktail combination. It's something I'd like to try myself this year because I've not tried it, but it sounds delicious.
Well, that's an interesting proposition. I may well have to do that. I'll also have at that point some bottles of the Kvike I made, the Norwegian farmhouse beer. Yeah, so might see how that goes. That's stylistically something that you would consider like a winter type beer in that it's high alcohol. It's got really nice spice character. Last time I tasted it, it still had some nice, not even like orange peel, but like just pure orange kind of taste to it, which was quite nice. So, and then of course it's got a little juniper to it, so it's got a little evergreen kind of Tannenbaum going on.
Sounds very seasonal.
Cool. Yeah. Do you have any like winter beers that you are particularly fond of?
What do I have lined up that I'd like to try? You know what? Not specifically winter beers, but what I'm looking forward to drinking this holiday season. There's two things. I have some of our own beers that I'm really going to try to convert some family and friends on. It sounds like your holiday is going to be a lot more peaceful than mine. When we're not entertaining, we're going to be attending really big group gatherings. So I have some of our higher ABV stuff lined up, and I know there are people, most of the people we'll be around and that we'll be with, most of the family members are fairly unadventurous beer drinkers. And so I'm actually going to bring out a bunch of our Magnus Force Belgian Golden Strong because I think it's actually a nice, bold, flavorful gateway option for people because it's not big and hoppy, but it has a lot of interesting flavor going on. And some 643 double IPA. I'm going to be bringing some of that around too. And my plan this year is I have the cheeses from our recent beer and cheese pairing that really enhance the flavors of those beers, like very special, unique cheeses. I wish I could describe them to you right now, but I can't off the top of my head. I would need to look back. Anyway, I picked some of them up today, and so that's going to be the way I convince some of my family and friends that wouldn't otherwise go anywhere near beers like that to taste them, because I think you can make friends with cheese pretty easily.
Yeah.
And it makes it, the whole thing, I think, a little more approachable.
Yeah. Now I'm just going off memory here, and obviously a certain amount of sort of educated extrapolation because turkey's not my jam, but I would think that Magnus Force, that'd be a good turkey
I think
beer.
it would as well. Yeah, I think it would work well with a lot of the sides that you might typically do at Christmas as well, or that you might typically do with a turkey.
Totally. Yeah, totally.
So I'm going to try to pawn that off on some family members and convert them because I'm determined to win them over. So there's that. But then personally, the thing that I'm looking forward to enjoying for the holidays, and it hasn't arrived yet, so I'm hoping that my mail delivery guy will get it to me in time, is I've placed actually I should talk quieter so Mark doesn't hear me on this. Some of these will be stocking stuffers for him. I've ordered some beer from the Half Hours on Earth brewery. Have you tried their stuff?
I've had a single one of their beers at somewhere. That's not a great
good story.
Good story, I know. Where was it I had it? It was a festival or something, and I had like, it was in a bottle, and it was fantastic.
Cool. Yeah, I've been hearing such great stuff, so I placed an order. You can actually buy their beer online through their website, and it gets shipped to you the same week through Canada Post. Basically the same thing that ends up happening when you order from the LCBO.
Yep, there's actually, I didn't know that they were doing that necessarily, but speaking from experience from work, there's a bunch of wineries
yeah,
that
I've
do
heard that.
You can order wine straight or direct from the winery, so that's cool.
Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to that parcel arriving. I'm just hoping I'll get it by Friday. And then I have some beers that some friends from Bose have handed over to me. They've kindly gifted us some beer at the holidays. Some of it's what do we have from them?
Did they do New Lang Syne again this year?
They do, but I don't have my hands on any of it yet. I'd like to pick one up for New Year's Eve.
Yeah, that's good
What
beer.
is it? 80 shilling? Have you had that from Bose?
No, I haven't.
What is it again? I'm gonna look it up right now so I can tell you. But I'm excited to try it because I know I have.
That'd be a Scotch ale.
Yeah, it's from their Farm Table series. Yeah, that's right. It's a Scottish style ale.
Yeah.
4.7%.
Yeah, all the shilling, the price shilling beers are Scotch style ales. So.
What does it refer to again? Is it the alcohol strength?
No, well, indirectly, it's the excise on the alcohol.
Oh, that's right. But like something like a 60 shilling, or I think I've heard of something like that before. That refers to the lower the number, the lower the alcohol, isn't it? Oh,
Yep.
okay. Cool.
Exactly. Yeah, because you're paying more on the excise, and so I think like a full wee heavy is like a 120 or something, and then it varies in between.
Got it.
So yeah, that's like a Scotch.
Yeah,
ale.
so I'm pretty psyched to try some of that because I've been hearing good things about it, and I have one of my very own to try.
That's awesome.
What else? And I think we'll do a little bit of some beer trading around the brewery because everyone's been picking up different things from different places.
Yeah. I have a buddy who came back from Michigan 2 weeks ago, and he brought me some things, and so some of that's probably going to make an appearance Christmas Day. There's some Stone stuff. I've got a can of Dale's Pale Ale, which is just classic. So that's all pretty exciting.
You know what I didn't see in the LCBO this year that I usually pick up at this time of year is the Rodenbach vintage. Did that launch? Do you know?
I thought that hit a while ago, like in late October or something. I think it's been and gone now. Yeah.
Snooze, you lose. That's the story of my life.
Yeah, that's a
Did
good
you pick
beer.
up anything
Bloody hell.
specific for the holidays?
I haven't actually done that shop yet, so I have to pick up a case of beer because we do. Our church does a Christmas Day lunch for people in the community, and so this year it seems like a lot of people have come out of the woodwork, and I'm actually a little bit daunted at what I'm going to be presented with to serve. It's going to be a real crapshoot, but they've said all they actually need me to provide is just a single case of something. But knowing that what we're probably going to have is like a lot of like Keith's type stuff, I might like totally go different and get like a flat of like Ephus or something like that. Just get a very different beer to have on offer. And there's a little self-serving thing in that too, in that typically that out there beer, that different beer compared to like the kind of standard cold yellow beer, doesn't move as much, and that means I would get to then take the leftovers home, so that's all right.
Doesn't sound like you're very much in the Christmas spirit with that one.
No, I'm trying to provide, an interesting alternative, and I'm also aware that in doing so, I might benefit. So
That's fair.
it's a win-win.
That's fair. No, it sounds like a fun time.
Yeah, no, it should be good. So, and then, I've got to do the usual pickup of like, what else do I need? I've actually got a lot of beer kind of kicking around the house right now, both production and homebrew. So I don't need too much of that. And we'll have to see. I'm going to probably pick up some wine for Erica just in case the homemade stuff isn't quite quite there yet. But then, yeah, you need the high proof rum, obvs, because what else are you going to light on fire?
What else are you going to put in your nog?
Well, and this is it. So I'll get the big bottle of the high proof, and we'll nog it up with that. And yeah, I think that'll probably do it. I'll probably end up picking up some singles of something. You know, I've been a real sucker recently for the refined fool stuff that you can get at the LC these days. They do the Pouch Envy, the Australian pale ale, is really, really, really good. I like that beer a lot. So, have you tried that?
I have not. I feel like a few episodes back we talked about their beer, and I'm yet to get my hands on any since that conversation.
They do have it at the at Loblaws as well.
So yeah, cool.
Plenty of options, but I guess the two Loblaws in kind of our area aren't really your local grocery stores, are they?
I shop at the Leslie one fairly often when I'm doing a Loblaws shop. I love the store, but I find it pretty expensive, so I only go there for certain types of things. I'm trying to mix it up a little. Yeah.
But yeah, so that's sort of where I'm at now. Have you tried any so I think we probably even talked about this last year, and I mentioned it in the last little quick app, but I did a post a while back about like different things that you can do, sort of like different adaptations to involve beer in the day, including like making like butter beer instead of eggnog, and having your mimosa with like a Belgian triple rather than with champagne or with whatever kind of fizzy wine-based variant. Have you tried any of that sort of thing with your holiday festivities?
Not usually. I will often use cider instead of like broth sometimes for my stuffing. So in terms of like cooking with beer, I do that.
That would be good.
Yeah, I love apples in my stuffing. I always put apples in the dressing. So I figured, why not cider, since it's apple-based and delicious. Totally. I don't know. We typically do a lot of driving on Christmas, and this year it's nice because we're actually hosting Mark's family for Christmas dinner at our place on Christmas Day.
Cool.
So given that I don't have to drive anywhere, I think you
can get
I'll probably change things up. I mean, it's my birthday after all, so have a little bit of fun, let loose in my own place with my slippers on and the single log fire roaring.
That's awesome. And you're doing like a trad. You're gonna go like turkey and stuffing and gravy, and I
couldn't imagine anything else. I couldn't do it ever.
Well, it's funny. I mean, like a lot of people do either like an alternate, like they you get like a roast beef or something like that on Christmas. I think is not uncommon, especially in Canada. And then of course, if you're a little bit more European, like British, you might actually do a goose instead of a turkey. But yeah, for us too, it was always turkey, always.
Yeah, I don't think I'll ever waver from that. A turkey dinner is one of my all-time favorite meals, and I love cooking one as well. So there aren't enough occasions on which we, I guess, celebrate by eating that, and so I look forward to it very much.
Nice. Okay, what about New Year's now with beer? This is a different ball game altogether, as far as I'm concerned. Do you have anything specific you do for New Year's? Are you doing it? You wouldn't do it at the brewery because you guys close before midnight. So.
Well, technically we close, but we may be there to the wee hours, having some fun. If you're
Nice.
You're usually out of town, right?
Yeah, we go up to Erica's cousin's cottage, so we're.
So for those who are listening, we're closed on New Year's Eve. We were closed on New Year's Eve
at 9 p.m.
At 6:00 p.m.
6 p.m.
Yeah,
I had the number upside down.
We want to get the team out of there so they can carry on with their evenings.
Yeah,
with their evening fun, but. Yeah, typically we'll get together with some close family and friends at the brewery on New Year's Eve and enjoy the place a little bit for ourselves. So it's a good time. And
so you can literally organize a piss up in a brewery.
The LCBO hasn't issued my permit yet, so I'll keep the details under wraps.
Nice.
We really like to just like empty the cellar basically and clear out old bottles and crack those things that you've been waiting to try but haven't found an excuse, and Yeah, for us, New Year's is about drinking more of the special beers and really sharing unique things. So I'm not going to have a whole glass of something. I'll just have a couple of sips, but sort of spreading some of that around. And especially for those who don't drink, like, I don't know, more rare or unique or special styles of beer on even semi-regular basis. I love just introducing family and friends to new stuff that they wouldn't have otherwise tried, engaging their reactions.
Totally. Yeah.
So
totally
we really
cool.
go all out when it comes to that on New Year's Eve.
Nice. We we go up to the cottage and up in Havelock, if you know kind of the eastern cottage area.
My cousin and her family live in Havelock.
Oh, right on. Yeah. So, and this is funny because I always say like, oh yeah, the cottage is on Belmont. You'd be surprised how many people I know who cottage on Belmont. Right? It's not that big a lake, relatively speaking, but yeah. And there's a brewery on Belmont Lake Brewery now.
Really?
Which is, yeah, it's a guy who worked with John at Church Key, and it's a legitimate business, absolutely, but you get the real feel. It's a bit of a retirement kind of project. So it's, I think it's like I want to say 3 heck set up, and they often just kind of make one beer, and that's the beer for the week. And sometimes there might be like 2 or maybe even 3, but it's like they're just kind of making stuff that they find interesting. So they do a good mild, and they have a nice porter and stuff like that. All very English and very cool. But we do, the big kind of thing for us is that they have a really nice sauna at the cottage. And so we have that fired up kind of all day New Year's Eve. But we'll do a countdown with the kids at like 9 p.m. And Erica's godparents, her cousin's parents, are up, and so that's when we kind of do that family thing. And then they normally crash out before midnight, and kids are long asleep, and so the 4 of us will go out and sit in the sauna for the actual countdown. And we normally miss it, but we drink out there, and I'll do the same sort of thing where just a couple of special bottles will take up, especially I know Kevin, he likes his stouts and stuff like that, so try and bring up some cool like Imperials and that sort of thing. And he's actually stoked. He picked up a bottle of Arrogant Bastard and knew nothing about it, just thought it was a funny name. And he was like, oh, what's it like? And I was like, oh, it's pretty hoppy. It might be pushing your threshold, but we'll drink that. And I'll take up some Kvike, obviously, for the sauna drinking. Although I suspect I might be the only one to really indulge in much of it, because still 12 or 13% beer is not in everyone's wheelhouse. But yeah, and just through the day, just same sort of thing, like, oh, let's try this, let's see what this is like, and just have a bit of fun with that. Church Key's not far. We often will hit 5 paddles on the way out because it's kind of en route, and so you kind of walk in there and like, what do you got? And grab a couple of bottles of whatever's on the shelf, and just play and experiment. So that's pretty cool. It's a good way of doing it. And then a lot of wine with dinner and that sort of stuff. So yeah, it's a very similar sort of environment, just in a very different place, I guess, which is kind of cool.
That's super fun. There's got to be so many new breweries out on that path from here to there as well. Like you mentioned, stopping in at 5 Paddles, but I think fairly close by is Brock Street. Have you paid them a visit yet?
I have not, but you are correct. They're out
and I think there are a couple others, like not too far from there.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I also can't come up with them off the top.
Yeah, but it just got me thinking, like, on that little journey, if Erica and the children had the desire and patience for it, you should try to stop at some other shops and grab stuff on the way.
Yeah, they don't.
Wishful thinking.
They, I do well to get to 5 Paddles. Yeah, but let's just see. I've got Ontario Beverage Network opened up here. I'm trying to get there we go. Got the map.
Just back to our conversation on the road and Bach. While we were speaking, I looked it up on the LCBO website, and there's still plenty left at a few stores. Specifically, Summerhill has hundreds, so I'll be making a journey up there.
Huh. Let's see. Yeah, Brock Street Brewing Company in looks like Whitby. Apparently, Rouge River Brewing Company, which is
they're not open yet.
They're not open yet. Okay, that's like Scarborough, yep. North Scarborough. Manantler.
Oh yeah, I've been meaning to pay those guys a visit. They've last year after the Ontario, the OBAs, the Ontario Beer Awards, Brewing Awards, yeah. They the guys from Main Antler came to the brewery, and we hung out with them for a while. It was a great deal of fun. But I've still yet to head out to their brewery. Are they in Bowmanville?
I've just scrolled past them.
I think it's Bowmanville.
Yep, in Bowmanville, exactly. A little further east, William Street Beer Company, which I wanted to say, and then I got gun shy. I was like, oh wait, they might be like in the Kitchener.
No,
Cambridge,
you're totally right. Yeah.
area, but yeah, Northumberland Hills, it trails off there. I don't know, B Brewery something. Anything else? Oh yeah, go north, Smith Havens. That's apparently in Peterborough. I've not heard of that one before. Of course, Church Key, we mentioned them. Well, we wouldn't go as far as Napanee, but there's a brewery in Napanee. There's one in Presqu'île Point, Presqu'île, however you say that.
Presqu'île.
Wild Card Brewing in Trenton. This is all getting farther than we go. Like, that's further east, but it's still not too far. Country Road Beer Company in Wellington, which is near Sandbanks, which maybe I'll go to next summer when we do our annual pilgrimage to Sandbanks.
Oh, that's got to be a whole other episode. I have some good tips on some stuff we saw when we were out there this year. We never really recapped after we were out there on the same weekend.
Yeah, we didn't, did we? Man, we had some amazing Norman Hardy wine. Ugh.
Likewise.
Gosh. The problem with going to Sandbanks is that there's so many good wineries, but you just want to go to Norman Hardy.
There's I had a lot of good stuff in a lot of places. I really enjoyed the visit to Hinterland. They do all sparkling. And then they have the County Road beer out back. That's really nice experience.
Oh, is that how it works? They're a winery with a brewery?
Yeah, they're all attached and interconnected.
I feel like we at least talked about this privately if we didn't
Possibly,
talk about it publicly.
I think, we were messaging about it at the time. Yeah. Anyway, when you're making your journey out to Havelock, you got to try to grab at least one new thing from a brewery you've never visited.
That's an interesting challenge. I accept, and that will be my homework. I will report back what I picked up and from whence. And yeah, we can go with that. I don't think there's anything really beer event wise worth talking about. I shouldn't say that that's terrible. There probably is something it's probably worth talking about. Do you know of anything off the top of your head happening over the holiday?
Not over the holiday. I think people are generally pretty busy and distracted, so no, not really.
Yeah, it's a busy time of year. I know if you're in the city and on Christmas Day you're looking to just get the heck out of your house. Your family's driving you crazy. Castro's Lounge does open Christmas Day at 9 p.m.
Oh, nice.
It's not really an event, but...
just being open, a lot of places are not.
Yeah, it's wall-to-wall with people, and it's a ton of fun. And everyone's there for basically the same reason, so there's no judgment. And so that's a pretty cool thing to do if you're in the city and you're looking for a bit of fun. But other than that, yeah, I got nothing between now and the new year, so... which isn't bad.
Yeah, let's reconvene then, because there's a lot of winter stuff going on, but it's not top of mind with holidays around the corner.
Totally. All right, bit of a scattershot that episode, but I'm amazed we kept it together given my tired state right now and your overworked state. That was a high five.
High five.
Mandie.
Woo.
And yeah, I think we're going to take a little bit of time off. I don't think we're going to record on... Is it Boxing Day is Monday?
Oh gosh, that couldn't possibly.
Yeah, we'll leave it off. Take a little bit of break. We've done pretty good. We've had an ep out every week for 3 weeks.
Good job.
4 weeks.
Woo.
Yeah. Well, go us. That's awesome. And so yeah, we'll get back at it in a week or two. Have a very, very safe and happy holidays out there. For all we're talking about drinking tons at the holidays, don't be dumb about it, right? Make sure you've got a safe way to get around, and as well, families can be tough, but they can be lovely, so make sure you can form some memories of the time.
Please, get home safely. Do not drink and drive.
Yeah, drink at home unless you're going to Castro's, in which case take transit. And Mandie, happy birthday.
Thank you. Merry Christmas to you and the Schreier family.
Merry Christmas indeed. Tell Jesus if you see him I said happy birthday too.
Okay, you're the one going to church, so you'll probably get the opportunity, not me. But
right, but your birthday buddies. I'm just birthday buddies with Desmond Tutu. Anyway, have a great one. I will see you soon, I'm sure. And for everyone listening, thank you for continuing to listen. This is a ton of fun. And looking forward to keeping on doing it. So have a very safe holidays and a happy New Year.